In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how we can create what are called JavaScript rollovers. I've got a little sample here running right now. A rollover is basically when you move your mouse over a button or what you want to create as a button. It responds by replacing the image with a second image, and it gives you the effect that it is changing. So it's basically swapping out an image for another image when the mouse interacts with that graphic, and that's in this case created using JavaScript, and it's known as a JavaScript rollover. Now I've also attached links to these, so we're just going to create a simple little 4-page website with an image on a page, and when we click the image it brings us back to this index, which does have this menu element at the top with these rollover features. Okay, so let me go over to Photoshop and just show you how I created these graphics. To prepare for this, I just created a file. I believe it's 100 pixels tall by 200 pixels wide, and over in my layers I created a layer with one color and then a second layer with a different color, and I also created this black stroke around it. It might be hard to see here, but there's a black outline which is on its own layer. So if I turn it off, you'll see it there. And then all the text elements that will go on these elements that I will ultimately use as buttons by putting them together in Dreamweaver inside of a table. And we have all 4 different labels here, all created. So a little bit of pre-work, if you will, before we start plugging this in HTML and JavaScript using Photoshop. Okay, so I've already created these graphics and I will be providing them, but this is how we came to having these graphics. Okay, so I'm going to jump out of Photoshop and over to Dreamweaver. And in here I do have a finished version again here. It's basically a table with 1 row and 4 columns, and each table cell has a graphic, and I'll show you how we can take these graphics and create that rollover feature. Now if you look over here, I do have the site set up, and that's imperative that the site is set up first. I'll close my images folder, and you can see I do have the 4 separate files. Here's the tub, the watermelon, and the welcome sign, and the index is this table with 4 graphics inside of it that will serve as buttons to navigate to the other 3 files. So why don't I just start a new site here and we'll get going from scratch. So I'm just going to click new site, and I'll just call it JavaScript rollovers. There we go. And more critically, find the root folder, which I've already set up. I just have one in my downloads folder here. And I call it root_Ouellette. I will highlight that and click choose and save, and that's what will appear over here in my files. Now I need to create new files for this, so I think I'm going to close these old ones right now and start from scratch. If I do open my images folder, those are all the images we will need to create the buttons as well as the 4 pages. So I will leave that open and we'll start to create the 4 pages. Then we'll circle back again and populate them. So I'm going to start with new, and I'll call my first one index. So for a page title, I'll just call it home and click create, and very quickly do a save as. Just click on my site root folder to make sure I'm in the right place and save it as index.html. As I said, we're going to create 4 blank pages. Okay, and we'll call this one tub. So this is the title of the page. Create, and immediately save as once again. So this one we'll call tub.html, and I will hit site root just to be super safe and click save. And my third one, say new. I'll call this one melon. Create, that'll be the title, and we'll save the file. Save as melon.html. Save. And the next one here, new. We'll call this one welcome. Create. Quickly save that. Save as welcome.html. And again, I'm just going to hit my site root to be extra safe, which saves it at the top level of the site, and save. Okay, so with these three files, I'm just going to drag the image in and create a quick link back to the index file. So for welcome, we'll grab the welcome.jpg and just drag it right in there. With it highlighted, I'm going to go down to my properties, click the little browse for file for link, and just click back to index and click open. Save that and move on to the next one down the row here. So I'm going to click on the melon tab. I will drag in the image called watermelon.jpg, and with that still selected, I'll go down to my properties to the link window. Again, browse for file, and I can double click it, so I'll double click here, index.html, save it, and off to the next one. Next to that, tub. I will grab the image called tub.jpg, drag it in there. Again, with that highlighted, I will browse for file under the link section and double click on index and save it. Alright, now for the fun stuff on our index page. So we're just going to create a little table here, and we'll bring in those images into each of the cells. We'll do a table with 1 row and 4 columns. So we'll start by just clicking in here, and we'll go to our insert tab. I'm just going to click on the table, and let's see, 1 row, 4 columns. Now I happen to know that the graphics are 200 pixels wide, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to make the table width 800 pixels wide. I will have 0 border on it, so I'm going to click 0 there. And I can click 0 in here as well, cell padding and cell spacing. So I'll do that as well. That'll keep all the graphics tight together. And let's see here. I'm going to click none for header. Alright, so there we go. Table with 1 row, 4 columns, 800 pixels wide, with 0 border, 0 padding, 0 spacing, header. Click OK. And there we go. So it's just a basic table with 4 subdivisions in here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I will actually, I think I'll click inside. I'll do it 2 different ways as I go. I'm going to click inside that first table cell, and then click Insert Image. And I'll go down to my images. And in here I want to use the #1 version of the home. So home01.jpg, open. And I'm going to just click into the next one and insert the next one. You see that these subdividers have moved. You can actually grab these and drag them. So I'm just going to drag that all the way over there, and then in this second table cell I'll drag another image. I could also drag and drop, and I'll do that for the next 2, I think. So this one will be tub01. Click open, and I'll drag this subdivider for the table. So it'll only go as far as the image will allow. That's why I dragged past it. And if I click in here, let's go over to files. Here's a different way to do it. I'm just going to click in there. I will grab, let's see, I guess I'll grab welcome and drag that into there. Whoa, undo. I grabbed the wrong graphic, sorry. Welcome 01. But you saw what happened there is that my table will accommodate the size of the graphic, and the graphic does take precedent over the settings. So let me grab this last divider here, and in this last window I will drag in watermelon or melon 01. There we go. I'm just going to save that. File save. Now that I've got the graphics all set up in the table, I'm going to attach the links to them, and then as a last step I'll do the JavaScript rollovers. I just clicked away to deselect, and I'll select the images one at a time and apply a link to them. So I'm going to select the home one, and I'm going to go down to properties under the link input window, and I'll use the browse for file method here, and I do want that to be attached to index.html. And I'll just click away and then select the next one, tub. Again, just go to browse for file under link in my properties and double click on the tub.html file. And I'm clicking away just to make sure that I don't have more than one selected. I'm on the third one, welcome. Under my link window, I'll browse for file, click on welcome, and there we go. And I can see it appear as well in my properties just to confirm it. And I'll click away here, and the last one called melon. Let me just click away here again and select melon. And go into my link, browse for file, and we'll attach that to melon and click open and save the file. Okay, so I'm going to go out to my browser and refresh this page, and we'll just see they are showing as buttons. So if I click on tub, remember we already created these files here to come back to index. There we go, seems to be working. And home doesn't really go anywhere because I'm already home. But if I had this menu on another page, then it would have worked. Okay. Alright, so let's do the last bit, which is the JavaScript rollovers. So I'm just going to go back to Dreamweaver here. And again, click away and then select the graphic I want to apply the feature to. And we do create it using the behaviors panel. So if you don't see it, just go up to your window and open behaviors this way. So once you've selected the graphic that you want to swap out, go over to behaviors, select the add behavior button, the plus sign, and it's called swap image. Now here, actually I'm going to cancel this, but you see how they're all unnamed? I actually want to create an ID for these, and I got ahead of myself there. So let me cancel this and attach an ID to each of these graphics. And that can be found down in the properties window. And then select the tub and do the same for each of these. So I'll just type in tub and hit my tab key there. Select the welcome graphic, go over down to my ID window, type in welcome, hit my tab key, and then the last one here, melon. Hit my tab key there, and just save my file. And now I will go back and attach the behavior. So I'll return to my home button here. Go over to my behavior, add behavior, swap image. And now when this opens, you'll see that they all have a name and they're easily recognizable. And what we want to do is the one that's currently highlighted, home, I browse for the image I wish to swap out for it when my mouse rolls over that image. So I'm going to open up images here. And I've named them home 01 and 02. 02 is the one that will swap out when we roll over. And I can just click open there and OK there and save my file. And I'm going to test this quickly. So I'm just going to go back out to the browser and I will refresh here. And there we go. So I'm going to do that for the next three. But that's the method we use to create the JavaScript rollover. So I'm going to do the next three fairly fast. Select graphic, go to my behaviors, add the behavior, swap image, under tub, browse for file, tub 02, click OK, save it, and test it. You should save and test each one as you go along. And I'm just going to refresh that. And there I have 2 out of 4. Okay, so just quickly rolling back here. I know that that method works. I'm just going to go as quickly and efficiently as possible here. Browse for file. Again, that one's for the welcome. So welcome 02. Open. Okay, save and test. I'm just coming back out to the browser, refreshing it, and there's 3 out of 4. Back to Dreamweaver, And we'll do the last one here, melon. Add behavior, swap image. Browse for the image I wish to swap out for when my mouse rolls over it. It's melon02. Click open, click OK. Save file. And once again, test this out. It should be finished if it works. So the rollover feature works. Let's just make sure the link still works. And looks like we're in business. So that is sort of the basic lesson on how to create JavaScript rollovers inside of Dreamweaver. And the method we used today was just creating some graphics ahead of time in Photoshop to get that changed image that seems to work. Looks like it's just changing colors. Alright, so there's our lesson again on JavaScript rollovers.